All right, welcome everybody. I am glad that you're here. Thanks for joining us here on BCTV. And Dana, I'm watching you too. I missed you. I thought you were coming tonight, but that's okay. You didn't have to come. You guys are busy. We have a special guest, as you know. Julie's here with me, and we're here to talk about motherhood, and because I'm not a mother, but she's here to talk about motherhood. And but I'm so glad that you're here watching us. If you're watching us live here on BCTV, this is an exciting time because I love get to hear people's stories, and I know that is the number one thing that I consistently hear from people, that they love the show because they get to know people, especially people in our church. Because, we've got a lot of people, and especially as we've seen the last couple weeks, that we've got a lot of people that are part of the church, and it's hard to get to know everybody. And so you kind of need an avenue where you can get to know people's stories and learn more about them. And we've been doing this. We did this all last year, and now we're into almost 6 months of the second year of this, and we try to do it almost every week. And so we've got several stories that if you are having trouble sleeping at night, you can just get on YouTube, get on our Facebook channel or our YouTube channel and watch BCTV, and it'll put you to sleep. Now, they're great stories, but why not fuel your mind with good things? But thanks for joining us tonight and here on BCTV. And if you could do me a favor as we get started, if you're watching this on Facebook, would you please share this? Let people know on your feed. Just hit the share button, and it'll go. You just say share onto your feed, and that'll go out there so others that you know that I don't or that the church doesn't know could have access to it. And because this is an opportunity for you to take just a small step to let other people know about the Lord and about what He's doing in people's lives. So if you do that, that would be great. And at the end of the show, we'd love for you to send a word of encouragement on Facebook and let us know how this encouraged you here tonight. So now, next week, we are not going to be having BCTV. Oh, I know. This is a favorite. We have our business meeting, so I could actually air our business meeting. You might be bored. Business meetings are boring, but they are a necessary part of a church family. And so we're going to have our spring business meeting next week, so we won't have BCTV. But tune in next week, the following week, and we will be back on and having another story for you to listen to. So it's going to be really great. So, all right. Well, Julie, we're going to get right at it here. Thanks for joining us tonight. And I know you're a busy mom. You have a lot to take care of. Right. And you had to get a child to work tonight. Is that
she had to get picked up from work.
Oh, had to get picked up from work. Gotcha. So you're busy. You're all over the place. And so maybe some people are watching here tonight, and they're like, or watching this recorded, and they're saying, I've seen her at church, but I don't know who she is. Tell them who you are and where are you from and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I'm the children's director here, and so I'm usually running around like a chicken with my head cut off on Sunday mornings. I grew up in Howe, and we live in Wauwaka right now. We're getting ready to move back to Howe.
Wow, okay. So, how long you lived in Wauwaka?
3 years.
Okay, and how do you spell Wauwaka?
W-
I'm just kidding. You don't have to spell it.
I like it. It's a fun one.
Mom, so you're used to telling your kids how to spell. So, so you tell us about your family.
I've got a stepson, and then Dana and I have 4 kids together.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about how old are these kids?
Logan's 25. He lives in Detroit.
Okay.
Janessa is 19, and she's in Florida.
Okay. She just
finished school.
Yeah, a year-long training.
Yeah, a Bible training. She wants to be a missionary.
Nice.
So,
does she have a field an area that she would love to go?
I don't know. She likes all the dangerous places.
All the dangerous places. She gets that from her dad.
Maybe. I don't know.
He's dangerous. He's bold.
So dangerous.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay.
And then Jillian is 16.
Okay.
Abby's 14, and Payson is going to be 11 in just a couple weeks.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
I remember when Payson was just a little
I know.
guy.
I think he was just almost 2 when we started coming here. So.
Yeah, he's grown up a lot. I know our kids have gone through that same thing. It's like we've been here for 15 years, and it's like, whoa, getting close to,
right?
It's like our kids have grown up here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then are you like from like born and raised here? Like you
Yeah,
graduated
like
from
we're
here and
getting
all
ready
that?
to move back into my childhood home.
Your childhood home?
Yep. So that's
Okay.
exciting.
All right. Well, that should be interesting. So have a good time with that move.
Right.
That's the summer, like a summer move
Yeah,
kind of
it's
thing.
something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
We're playing it by ear.
So you have a unique experience where you have your own kids, but you were introduced right out of the gate to motherhood. So if you're watching, we're talking about motherhood this month, and I want to hear from moms just their story about motherhood. And so what was that like? Like you came right out of the gate. You met Dana.
Right.
How did Dana handle that? Again, we love you, Dana. You know, how did Dana handle that with, like, did he introduce him to you right away, or was this like
No,
I'll get to it? Or?
Yeah, more like that. He wasn't sure. So it was, I don't know. It was a while before I even knew that he had a son.
Really?
And then
Things were getting
right.
serious,
Yeah.
and then he let you know.
Yeah.
So, and you guys were.
And Logan was only 18 months old when we met, so.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so
He was just little.
So he's always known you
Yeah.
for all of his life, for the most part. And now, was that when you found out Dana had a youngster, little guy? Was that a hard, like, were you? How did you feel, like, as a mom? Like, I'm coming into this scenario as kind of a mom already, you know.
I don't know. Logan was the same age as my nephews, so it was just kind of like I had little kids around me all the time. So
Okay.
I was just like, oh, okay, you've got a kid.
Are you a pretty cooperative person? Like, it's like.
Until I'm not, yeah.
I guess that's the key, until I'm not.
Yeah.
So now, what was it like to? Did you have some challenges with him? Like, he's not my biological son, but
Yeah,
I'm
there
here
was
to be an
always
influence. And,
right. There was always like we were definite about this. This is your mom. I'm your stepmom, but I'm not taking her place. But when you're with us, you need to listen to us. Just like when you're at school, you need to listen to your teachers, and when you're at a friend's house, you listen to their parents. And
Yeah. Wow. Did you ever have to discipline?
no, he's a really good kid for
Okay.
the most part. I mean, every kid, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah. Every kid's unique and different, and some you could just look at.
And the
Yeah.
roles were definitely different at our house than at his mom's.
Okay.
But
And was that a challenge? Like,
and it was mostly with what we watched.
gotcha. What was
But-
acceptable, what wasn't?
And I mean, what he wanted to watch was probably acceptable. It was just really annoying.
Was it Barney, by the way?
No, it was Thomas.
Thomas! Oh, that's just too much.
It was. Let's find something else, buddy.
Let's find something else. So, how long were you married before you had your guys' first child?
Just over a year
Okay.
because we already had Logan, so why wait?
You're like, let's just get this rolling.
Yeah. Well, and Dana's 9 years older than me, so.
Sure. He doesn't look 9 years older.
He looks 20 years
He's a
older.
young and looking.
Okay.
You know? So he's a young and looking guy. But before we jump into parenting your own biological children, did you have like a framework of which to work from? Like, what did you think of what motherhood was all about? Like, did you have an idea of what you were wanting to do and be? And
we
were
knew
you
that.
scared? Were you excited?
Oh yeah,
or-
you're always yes, all of those. We knew that I wanted to stay home with the kids,
Okay.
so that was one of the things that I said right away. If we have kids, I'm staying home, or only working part-time, not
Sure.
full-time, especially like when they're little, and now because we homeschool.
Oh, sure. And did you always plan to homeschool, or was that
Absolutely not.
something- Really?
Really.
How did this come up then into the situation?
We had planned to homeschool Janessa starting in middle school, just through middle school, because it was just weird.
Yeah.
But it ended up that Jillian was very, very anxious. And so we pulled her out in second grade and homeschooled her. And Janessa ended up going to middle school because She had already made friends and she just wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
So Jillian, we pulled out and homeschooled. I don't remember what year it was, when she was in 2nd grade. And then Abby wanted to stay home and homeschool when she was going into 1st grade because she saw all the stuff that Jillian was getting to do. So she didn't want to miss out on that.
Sure. So then you ended up just
Well, no, they've been back and forth.
back and forth. Gotcha.
They went back when Payson was in kindergarten, and then we just stayed home permanently. Once COVID came, we were just like, this feels right.
Sure. Sure. Well, that's cool. So yeah, obviously that right out of the gate saying, hey, I kind of would like to make sure I stay home, and or if I have to work part-time is really what I'm comfortable with. And so, like, were there things that you knew, like, I don't know, does every girl kind of like look at her mom? How do they know, like, what kind of a mom am I gonna be? Like,
Right.
how did you
I don't know.
process that as you're early on?
There were a lot of women in my life that I looked up to. I had both of my grandmas close by, and then I grew up in church, so there were some women in church that really, like my Sunday school teacher had me from 4th grade into adulthood, so she was really, and I was the only kid at church, so.
Sure, so she was pretty influential in your life.
Right, yeah.
Were there things about them that you're like, I appreciated that about them. Like, if I'm going to be a mom, I want to be a mom like that. Like, I want to do those things.
Right.
Do you remember some of those things that you remember that were influential for you?
My mom was she still is creative, but she's very creative, and she would always, if we were bored, she would always say, go draw, or write a story, or go play outside. And so, I don't know that I played with toys a lot, but she always had something there that I could create with, and she would always let me come alongside of her and do stuff too. So if she sews, so
Oh, really?
when she was in the sewing room, she would let me have the scraps, and I would make clothes for my stuffed animals or whatever.
Wow, so you know how to sew. Maybe sort of, kind of a thing.
I know the concept of sewing.
Oh, there you go. And what about like your grandmothers and stuff like that?
My grandma Bricker lived right across the road from us, so we were over there a lot.
Okay.
And Fridays were cleaning days. I didn't really learn a whole lot of that from her, though. I'm bad.
But every Friday was cleaning day.
Every Friday was cleaning day.
And you went over to help clean.
Well, if I came over, I knew that I was going to be cleaning.
Did you choose? I'm not going over.
Oh, no. Grandma's house was always great.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, so you liked going over there?
Yeah.
Nice.
And she would always let us, I remember their big meal was at noon. So we always ate dinner, and we knew that if we stayed, we were going to do the dishes for Grandma, and we were going to watch Price is Right before dinner.
Oh, that's awesome.
But everybody was just, all of the women in my life just let me come alongside them and do what they were doing with them.
Interesting.
I don't know that I was always great at that, but I always
Sure.
try.
Sure. And you think that was kind of the way they kind of taught their daughters and the girls, this is what we do?
Yeah, more or less.
And you kind of maybe picked up on some things.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I guess I hadn't really thought about it that way, that, they kind of just are living life and bringing you along. I think, with, my wife homeschooled our
Right.
kids, and there is a feeling on homeschooling that's kind of like that. It's like, it's a living life. Let's show you how to live life and understand how things do work. And while there's a lot of scholastics that are in it, there's a lot of real life in it too. So that's
Right.
cool. So, okay, so now you're a mom, and you're a mom of a stepson, and then you're also now starting to be a mom with all these kids and all that stuff. Were there times where you felt like I blew it, or like man, was it ever like moments where you look back and you say, oh gosh, can you tell us a story? Or
Well, not specifically, but I know
Sure.
that, like, my temper used to be really bad.
Really?
And so, like, being in the throes of having little ones, you're tired.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely get snappy, and that's something that I really wish that I would have taken more time to listen and to just not react to the situation.
Gotcha. Could you tell, did you get much of a reaction when you were snappy with the kids?
No, until, but like, the thing that made me change that is seeing my kids do the same thing.
Oh, sure.
And so I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm leading
They-
these little people by example. I better be a good example.
So that, like, you realize they were catching that
Oh, yeah.
from you. And like,
Yeah, when I heard my words coming out of their mouth or my attitude coming out of them, I was like, oh
I
boy,
know where that's from.
I've created little monsters.
It obviously didn't stop you. I mean, from being
Yeah.
a mom, but it seems like it did affect you, in that way. What are some things that you love about being a mom? Like, what are some of those highlight moments that you're like, it like makes me feel good because I love being who I am.
Right. I don't know. I just love listening to my kids talk, whether they're talking to me or to each other. Most of the time, I like to listen to that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got some deep thinkers, and so I get good questions, and I like to dig into stuff and learn stuff right alongside them.
Wow. I know you used to. I don't know if you still do, but you would always put like
Paysons. Oh
you know,
my goodness.
there were
That kid
things
is hilarious.
Do you remember some of the things? I don't know. You're a mom, so you got too many things in your mind. But do you remember some of the things that?
No, but I do remember not. Well, I don't know. He's probably 3, and he ran away
Oh no.
to here.
Oh, is this when you lived? Right
Yeah,
here? Okay.
yeah. So he didn't. It was okay.
Yeah, he didn't run very far.
He may have been a little older than 3, but he also had a temper. And he
He's
ran
here
away.
somewhere.
He is here somewhere. But there was that.
Yeah.
Let's see. I remember him telling me not to ever let him get married.
Oh. Payson.
It's Payson when he was little. He didn't believe me that I was married.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know where he got a lot of the stuff that he gets. And I finally convinced him that I was married. And he said, okay, just don't ever let me do it. Okay.
Okay, so no, okay. I know you would put them on Facebook as here's another Paysonism. That's not what you called him, but
No.
here's another thing that Payson said. Just a funny kid.
He is witty.
Yeah, and now that you've got some older children, you're obviously like to listen and stuff like that. Do you feel like you get to have those moments with them? Is it harder with a lot of kids, or can you find some time that you actually get to enjoy?
Yeah, it's harder because I'm split in more directions. But we have set aside days, which my kids agreed to, and then they decided they didn't like. But that different days, each kid gets to sit in the front seat. So usually that's who I'm talking to.
Oh, really? Oh, that's kind of fun. So when they're in the front seat, is it like, what's the rules? Like, whatever you want to talk about, this is what we're going to talk
You
about?
can control the radio. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. So now that you're seeing at least your oldest daughter now kind of graduate high school and now go off to this 1 year, because it was right after high school, right?
It was right after high school. Yep, she just finished up. We just got
19-year-old,
back.
Almost maybe getting close to 20.
Yep, in September.
September's 20, and wants to go on the mission field. How do you feel about all that? Is it like, does it feel fulfilling, or is it like scary, or is it like, whoa?
It's something that I've seen in her whole life.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising by any means.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be scary when your kids are off someplace different,
Yeah.
far away that you can't get to them.
Yeah.
But I know that's what God's called her to do, so I'm excited for her.
Yeah.
And we've always loved missions anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so
Well, you guys went.
We went to
there was
Uganda.
a time where you guys decided to go to Africa for, I think, a 2-week mission
we
trip?
went for 2 weeks to check stuff out because they had asked us to move there.
Yeah. And
But-
you ended up not feeling
I was really excited. I wanted to, but we felt like that's not where God wanted us, so
Yeah.
we did not go.
Well, we love the Lord and we love you guys, so we're glad you got
Yeah.
to stay. But it's probably very fulfilling to see your daughter.
Yeah.
Because she was on that trip, right?
No, she didn't go.
Oh, she didn't go with
No.
you guys. It was just you two. Mm-hmm. Oh, so to see her.
She's never been out of the country before. So
Really? So to see her taking these steps and getting excited about the Lord and wanting to serve that way, that's quite fulfilling. So when you look now, you're in a new phase where your
Right.
kids are, kind of growing up, and are there things that you think about when it comes to being a mother and just the changing role of a mom?
I don't know yet.
Just see how that
Right.
see how it rolls.
This is still fresh.
I'm sure. Well, and especially with Logan, he's now moved on and
Right.
stuff like that.
He's getting married next year.
Oh,
So,
getting married next
yep.
year. So, I mean, is it a different relationship? And again, we're just talking here to kind of learn, because there's several people that have to deal with, a
Right.
stepchild, and not I don't want to say that, maybe that sounds bad, to deal with. To love on and to care for, but it is a unique challenge
Right.
of its own. So, do you feel with him now that he's like, did that relationship change when he wasn't like mandated in a way,
Right.
to be a part of the family?
Yeah, and for a long time we didn't really see a whole lot of him because he was super involved with band, and so his weekends were taken up with that.
Ah,
And I mean, from the beginning of the school year till, I don't know, after Christmas, it was band, 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 band. So
yeah. And then when
Which-
he graduated high school,
he went to Manchester, and I mean, we would go visit him,
gotcha.
but
Yeah. Now, did you feel the relationship, does he reach out to you? Or is
Yeah,
it
we
going to
talk
be more
still.
of a you reach out to him kind of a thing, is it different being a step parent?
yeah, and like I said, we set those boundaries up because we didn't want to step on her toes, and we didn't want him to feel like we were trying to replace his mom.
Yeah,
And I don't know how that would have been different if he would have been with us full time. I mean,
Sure.
we still would have said, those still would have been
sure,
true things that we would have told him. But
absolutely.
only seeing him every other weekend, it was harder. I mean, it was more like having a nephew there than having a kid.
Oh, sure. And now being
At least
almost-
for me, not for Dana, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
oh,
But
I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I didn't know if it might take more effort on your part to keep that relationship going, unless, because I would imagine that the challenge is he's gonna call home, but most likely
it's
when
going to
you
be
talk to Dana.
Dana, unless if he really needs to get a hold of Dana.
Yeah.
Or if he's coming up for a visit, he'll tell me because,
Oh, you're the one that keeps the books.
yeah.
Yeah, just let Dad know I'm coming this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's cool. So you've kind of now, where's the Lord? Like, has the Lord been you've grown up in the church,
Right.
So how has the Lord influenced your parenting? Like you as a mom?
It, like, being a parent brings you closer to God. You understand that parent, like God the Father, and I'm his child, and oh, this is, like, I just made that correlation. Like, some of the stuff I do is kind of like some of the stuff my 3-year-old does. But it's taught me to be very intentional because, like, what do I want more than anything else is for my kids to follow God.
That's right.
So I've been, even down to their names, has been very intentional.
Really? Mm-hmm. Now, why is that?
Because we looked at the meaning of the names before we chose names. Yeah.
Do you remember the
Yeah.
meanings by chance? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Janessa is God is gracious.
Wow.
Jillian is youthful, and her middle name is Faith because you're supposed to have faith like a child.
Nice.
Abby is the Father's joy,
Nice.
and then Payson is Son of Peace.
Really?
So
Wow. So now being their children's director too, was it fun to, like, not only were you a parent and a mother to them spiritually, but also you get to be a part of their development here.
Right.
How has that impacted things in? Or did it make? Oh, great, we got to go to church again. 'Cause
Oh, absolutely.
Mom's
No,
gotta go to work.
no, they love being here. They think they own this place.
Yeah, they run the place. That's what happens with staff kids.
It is.
They end up. They know the place, the ins and outs.
Yeah.
They know where to play hide and seek, and all
They
this
do.
fun stuff. Just don't get the hot tub. Well, it's not. Everybody's been calling it a hot tub. It's a baptismal tank.
Yes.
And
Don't get in here.
If we come in and everybody's having a great time splashing, we're in trouble. Well, that's awesome. It sounds like you've had. Have you had some moments, like aside from the one, like now that you're getting older and stuff like that, that you like, I don't know. I mean, the one like showing our attitudes and
Right.
and words and stuff like that. Has that challenge grown just as you've gotten older as to what kind of a mom you're going to be and the influence you're having on your kids and whether it's good or bad
I
and
mean,
all this stuff?
each one of the kids is very different. You know, you've got 4 kids. They're all very different personalities, and I've learned that I have to parent them different. What works for Janessa isn't going to work for Jillian or Abby or Payson, and so that's been a challenge because I used to try and do the same thing for each kid, and boy, that probably devastated some of them at some points.
So now, a lot of people need not a lot. We all need somebody to talk to.
Right.
Do you have people that you like to talk to? If you're like, you hit a spot, you're like,
Yeah.
man, I don't know what to do about this. Maybe it's Dana, maybe it's just you two, or do you
no.
have people outside of you that you like to talk to get advice or?
There's been women in the church, especially women like Becky Troyer has a lot of kids. So at one point I remember Janessa, like, she was just a little sneaky thing. And I'm like, Becky, what am I, like, I feel like I'm raising a little liar. What am I doing wrong? She's
Sure.
like, no, it's normal. Just a phase. Just
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing.
Gotcha.
And Carolyn,
Yeah.
I call her my other mother. So
Your other mother? That's nice. So these are ladies that, like, do you think, where would you be without being able to, I mean, have they been that instrumental that they've
It's just
helped you? when
good
you
to be
needed
able to
them?
talk to other moms.
Yeah. Do you think moms are open to talking to other moms pretty easily?
I think that moms are open to talking to other moms, but I think it's hard as a mother to go to somebody else and say, ugh, what do I do with this?
Wow. Okay, well, what should we do about that? Force them into a room and say, okay, now talk.
No. Just don't be afraid to talk to somebody and
Sure,
befriend somebody.
sure. I mean, we got
Like-
small groups.
Right.
We got a women's ministry. We got people all around us. We can
Yeah,
be
and
very
these-
alone in a room when it's full of people.
Right. And most of the people there are going to be happy to sit down and have some coffee and just chat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I really appreciate that. And obviously, you live with. Are there generations here? Like I know your mom.
There will
is
be.
here, and so you're moving back here.
Right.
So,
My
Dana's parents are
Dana's
around,
parents are here.
Shipshewan, I think, area.
Topeka,
or
yeah.
Topeka area. So you have a lot of family that's
Right.
around you.
And my sister's here.
And your sister's here and everything. So if you look back and you're like in the front row, let's say your younger self is sitting right there and you know nothing yet about
Right.
being a mom. So are there some things that you would give yourself a heads up on, or like something to think about some advice you would give to her now before she gets going as a mother? What are some things you would maybe say to yourself?
You don't know it all, and that's okay. God gave you these kids because
Wait,
He
this
knew.
is recorded, just so you know, Dana. Say that again. Could you say that one more
The
time?
whole
for Dana?
thing? No.
The person in the back wants to hear that again.
No, it's good. God gave you these kids because He knew that you were the one that needed to raise them.
Yeah, gotcha. I think you said something else.
Yeah, I said that I don't know everything about my kids.
About my kids. Oh, see, she's sneaky. She's pretty good. So you would tell yourself, look,
It's okay to not know.
it's okay to not know everything about about each of the kids and what's going on.
Right.
Anything else
I don't know.
you would pass on? Like
Eventually, you'll get to sleep again.
eventually? Well, that's probably a very good thing
Right?
for a mom to know. Believe me, you will sleep again.
Right? They will all use the toilet by themselves.
That's right. One day,
Right?
that you won't have to cut up their food for them.
Yep.
It's like they can sit at the table and eat themselves, and for themselves.
Right.
Eat themselves would be a little bit.
That would
weird,
be a
but,
problem.
But yeah, and then to be there, obviously, anything would you challenge yourself anything spiritually?
I would start doing family readings and devotions more consistently from the get-go.
Really? Is it challenging to do that? Is it because of life
Well,
and busyness?
It is. And I don't know. We didn't start young, and so now it's a habit that you have to make, and
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't always happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially now that they're older and they're doing things.
Yeah. If the kids had to ask a question, do they ask you or do
Yes.
they ask Dad?
They ask me.
So what
They
I'm
ask Dad,
finding-
"Where's Mom?"
Yeah, if they have to talk to Dad, where's Mom? Okay, so I'm in that stage of life where my youngest is a graduate.
Graduating.
He'll graduate in a week and a half.
Wow.
I'm so very excited about that for him, and for us, but for him too. And but it's a 25-year journey that my wife has been a mother
Right.
to our children, and I think that it's interesting now that our kids are getting older and out of the home and living lives. They will. It's me that has to call them. They will call her,
Yeah.
and I don't try not to take that personally, but because I'm like, I'm here too.
But she did homeschool them, so
And
she knows all the
Yes,
answers.
that relationship is so very tight. So I would anticipate that's probably
Yeah, Janessa
more.
definitely calls, like, Janessa communicates more now than what she did when she was at home.
Really
Yes,
to you.
to me.
And is it like more like serious conversations, like more adult conversations, or just building the relationship?
Or I need money.
Or I need money. That you got to call your dad.
Yeah. No, lots of questions.
That's
Lots
awesome.
of questions she'll call and ask.
Wow. So has being a mother been all that you thought it would be?
It's been different than I thought it would be, but it's better by far.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Well, Julie, thank you for coming on. I'm sure that you kind of brought up some challenges about being an influence and being mindful of what kind of a role model are
Right.
we being to our kids. They do mimic us, which is so absolutely true. I've heard that more than once on many women that have talked about being a mom. It's interesting, like you said, just being able to realize you don't know everything, and it's okay, and you'll get through it.
Right?
And but do the important things, especially like invest in your kids spiritually.
Right.
Do your
Absolutely.
best to invest in them.
Because church isn't enough.
Yeah, a lot of people think it is.
Right.
And but
40 minutes on Sunday morning isn't enough to develop
Yeah.
a spiritual relationship.
absolutely, because I loved moments. And do your kids, like, I don't know, getting ready for bed? They sometimes they ask the most incredible questions.
Deepest, yeah.
Then.
Yeah, I think some of my deepest conversations spiritually have been with 8-year-olds. I mean,
Yeah. Especially when they're, I don't know, was it when they're getting ready for bed? Like,
no,
or
not
just-
necessarily.
okay. Oh,
I've
see,
got
ours
some
were
very
like-
deep thinkers,
Yeah.
so.
Ours seemed to be like, well, okay, maybe it was for me because I was at work. And
Right, yeah.
Tiffany probably fielded all those during the day, but at night it's sometimes very spiritual questions that when they're just kind of getting ready to go off to sleep, and you say, give them a kiss goodnight and let them know you love them and stuff. And it's an interesting challenge when you get, sometimes I think they didn't want to go to sleep, and so they'd ask these really hard questions.
Right.
And you're like, okay, go to sleep.
Let me think about that. I'll talk to you in the morning.
Yeah, I'll get you tomorrow. But that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I hope that if you're watching here tonight, that that her story was an encouragement to you. If you're a young mom that's watching, I think take her advice. Realize you're not alone. There are people around you. Now, granted, you may be isolated. You may be at home and you may not go out. But if you're a part of a church family, I would imagine that was a huge part for you, was being a part of a church family. I mean, you've always known one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. She's always to the point. So I love that. But that's it. I mean, being a part of a church family is absolutely critical. I'm sorry?
Get involved.
Yeah, get involved. I mean,
People love your kids.
There's small groups. There's children's ministries, youth ministries. There's women's ministries in our church. There are people that are available to you.
Right.
And I don't know, if a mom ever just wanted to sit down with you and have coffee?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's go get coffee.
So Julie
I have babysitters.
Yeah, Julie is ready. She's saying, I want to go have coffee with you. So is there a special coffee place you'd like to go?
I don't really like coffee, so
We'll
go wherever you want to drink coffee, and I will drink something.
That's awesome. So, but that's really important that you put yourself out there. If people like Carolyn and Becky and others, they may not know you're asking these questions because those questions are in your mind, not theirs.
Right.
They've already maybe resolved some of that in their own lives. But if you have a question and you're not asking, then how do you get the answer? So here's your opportunity to take some of these things that Julie's learned, and her kids are still right in the middle of life, and she's got some more to go. But thanks for telling us where you're at. And I know that just it sounds to me your personality is a little less like intense. So, or at least maybe it isn't. It's like, or at least
I've gotten less intense.
Do you take things not so personally, or do you kind of let things kind of roll off your back, or
it's a situational thing.
What's that?
It's a situational thing.
Situational thing. So there's some opportunity here to learn from Julie and others, and I'm just thankful that you got to share a little bit about your family, about motherhood, and it sounds like you've got some legacy of great women in your life, and that you're trying to model that for your girls, and so thanks for sharing about all that. I appreciate that, and if you're watching tonight and you've been encouraged, let us know how tonight encouraged you. And if you would like to reach out to Julie, I'm sure she would, here at church, I know she would love to talk with you. If you would like to know what it means to be married to a really cool guy like Dana, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer that question too. He's my BFF, so we're good friends. I'll tell you a little bit about that too. So, but if you're like, I need to talk, and I don't know who to talk to, let us know here at Brighton Chapel. Visit us on a Sunday morning. Be a part of what's going on. It's huge. It's an incredible place. And there's so many people here that love each other, and they're so excited to have you here. And give us a chance to come around you and love on you and help you in your journey of being a mother. Well, listen, we want to encourage you, if you don't know Jesus, it really starts there. And I don't know, when did you give your life to the Lord? Were you a little girl?
I was, like maybe kindergarten.
Wow. So you were in your 5, 6 years old stage of life where you accepted Jesus as your Savior.
Right.
That's awesome.
And I did it multiple times because
as you
grow,
and matured, just you learn more about Jesus as the older you get, and the older you get, the more you surrender. It seems like.
Right.
And was there a time where you look back and you say, it was like, I remember I like fully surrendered my life to the Lord, and I gave Him my heart completely?
No, it was just, it's been such a gradual thing. That's, I don't know, growing up in church, it's just like always there, but you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into it.
That's awesome. Well, it starts there. It starts with a relationship with the Lord, and then you can start that relationship and go deeper and deeper with Him. So what I want to do is, I just want to have a word of prayer. I want to have 2 prayers. Would you be willing to pray tonight? Mm-hmm. Okay. Would you just pray for the moms that are out there that are watching? Yep. Maybe they're like young moms, or maybe they got kids like your age and still mothering and still trying to do their best. And just would you just pray a word of encouragement over them? Yep. And then if you're watching here tonight and you've never accepted Jesus as your Savior, I want to give you that opportunity to do just that tonight. So would you lead us in a word of prayer?
God, thank you so much for the moms and all of the women in our lives, and thank you for our kids and everybody that's there to support us. I just pray that you would be with the moms who are in the throes of young children and encourage them to make friends and to get out to where they can make friends, and help them to have the courage to trust that that there are other women in the church that they can come to and talk to, whether they're just need adult conversation or if they have questions or if they're just feeling down. I just pray that they would reach out to one of the women here at church who maybe is a little bit older, their kids are a little bit older, and they've got the experience to come alongside them and to encourage them. And I pray that that you would be with the moms of the preteens and the teens who are getting crazy, and that there's attitudes coming out that you, like, their little switches have flipped and they're not the sweet little kids. Just encourage them and remind them that you gave these kids to them to raise because you knew that they were the moms that these kids needed. And I pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Hey, listen, with your heads bowed and your eyes closed, if you're watching here tonight and you've never surrendered to Jesus, the best relationship and the first relationship you really need is with him. And so here's your opportunity. If this is the case where you just want to start that relationship with the Lord Jesus, we do it through just a word of prayer. And we whisper this prayer to Jesus for him to hear. And if that's the case, we just want you to pray this prayer. Just whisper this to Jesus. Say, "Dear Jesus, thank you for loving me so much that you were willing to come to this place to die on a cross for me, to pay for my sin so that I could experience the mercy of God, and then to rise from the dead so that I can know that I have eternal life with you. I surrender my life to you today." And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Well, listen, if you prayed that prayer, we would love to hear about it. Please contact us. Let Julie know. That would be, what a gift,
right?
To have your story of motherhood be able to point people to Jesus and for them to surrender their lives to him. What a great gift that could be. And it's not about Julie. It's about you and about Jesus. And we want you to know him. So if that's the case and you've surrendered your life to him today, like she said, it's a journey, and you grow deeper and deeper in your walk with the Lord. There's more to go. There's more steps to take, and we'd love to help you along the way. So contact us. Let us know. We'd like to celebrate with you and help you with those next steps. Well, thank you, Julie.
Thanks for having me.
That's awesome. We made it. It's like almost time. Did you realize how fast this went? You're like, whatever.
Yeah. We're just
See how
talking.
cooperative she is. She's like, okay, sure.
Until I'm not.
I love it. Well, listen, thank you for joining us tonight. We will not be back next Tuesday, but we'll be back the last Tuesday of the month, and the day after Memorial Day. And so we